Hello, and welcome to the Table and Well podcast. I'm Tennison.
And I'm Ginelle. Thank you for joining us as we discuss topics and give practical tools that help you live, grow, and be in healthy, joy-filled relationship with God, yourself, and others.
For more information and resources, or if you're looking for coaching, connection, and community, please visit tableandwellco.com. We hope you enjoy this podcast. Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the Table and Well podcast. This is episode number 7 of Stories from the Table. And as always, please feel free to download and subscribe to this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And if you would prefer to watch this podcast, you can do that now on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe at Table and Well Co. So in this episode will be the conclusion of our conversation with Jason and Victoria Twombly. And it has just been an absolute joy and pleasure to hear just their insights on the table and just the conversation we've had about making a home in your heart so you can hold space for people at the table, and just really all the things that they've experienced while sitting at the table. And so today we're going to be hearing Jason's answer to the question, the table to me is. And I do have to say, unfortunately, we were having some technical difficulties, so we were not able to get Victoria's answer, and that is really sad because it was fantastic. But hopefully maybe we'll be able to talk to her again and give you a little bonus episode of what her answer to that question of the table to me is and has been. But the insights that we have gotten from Victoria have been fantastic, and the conversations that we've already had with her. So, I do apologize for that. However, what we do have has been gold. So, with that being said, I will get out of the way and we will listen to the conclusion of this episode and our conversation with Jason and Victoria and their stories from the table. In that, so as we've talked about really some of the things that we've seen at our table, I'd love to hear from you, and we'll start with you, Jason. Just again, that question of, to you, the table is or has been. What is that? Yeah, what's your answer to that, or what's your reflection on that?
There are a lot of words, but I'll land on. Can I hyphenate them? Hyphenate the words? I want connection.
You're 4 on the Enneagram. We allow more than
one. You get more. You get more than one.
About that.
You get more than one.
There's a kaleidoscope of a constellation of words I'd love to pull from, but I'll land on connection, and I can see the table being a bridge over troubled water. And as we bridge our hearts toward heaven and toward one another, it really becomes that bridge over the troubled waters of our lives, and becomes that sacred space and a Selah moment where there is peace that's palpable and tangible in this house of peace and this house of peace. So that connection toward the power of shalom, and I think shalom is that power and authority over chaos. And there's just that beautiful sense of peace and shalom that comes from connecting heart to heart in this way. So connection.
Yeah. What are some possible, I mean, you don't have to go into super details, but I'd love to hear even just some stories that maybe personal stories, or maybe stories that you've seen happen at the table where you've seen that connection happen, and that shalom and that peace of this has settled in the space.
Yeah, I think it's the seeing of people through heaven's eyes. And so I've had the privilege of facilitating a few of the tables. And a really good facilitator is a really good invitationalist. As you're mentioning, we're inviting them into something bigger than the experience of just 8 or 9 heads around the table. And so as we facilitate, paying radical attention to the heart that is sharing a story, whatever it might be, really paying attention to maybe the tears that are coming, that are often running at the table. And I believe those tears are the telescope toward the dreams and the desires of that person they may not have seen for a while. And as we hold their hearts in those moments, and whether it's the tears from sadness, tears of a dream deferred, or a desire fulfilled, there is a moment where that person is metabolizing pain and grief into fields of gold, and it becomes such a rich moment at the table that a Narnian wardrobe pales in comparison to what happens at the table. And it's just a privilege to to see that connection become a portal of God's pleasure. And I'm a mystic and I'm a seer, but I see all those things that happen. And it's not the norm when you're just listening to one person speak for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you.
I would just to add to that, because of the way that the table is structured, the connection, it's invited almost. It's welcomed. It's part of how it happens. It's like you come and you sit and you know that you're going to be connected to the people that are sitting around this table.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's almost interesting that I've seen people even just come like with their hearts like ready to connect.
Mm-hmm. I think you do. You begin to, if you've been here more than once, I think you come knowing that you will be seen that day, and that you are also coming to see other people and to witness their lives. I think there's an intentionality around it, and it's even more fun when people come for the first time and have no idea
no clue
what's about to happen, but that is available to them, and then they're like, "Wow, where did I end up here?"
Yeah. And even to speak to that point, there was a young lady that came, I think, a couple times ago, and she had asked, like, well, how long have you guys been, you were with me, Victoria, on that one, and she's like, well, how long have you guys been doing this? So we've just been a year and a half. And she's like, just a year and a half? So I thought this was like, 5-10 years old, where you guys, and I'm like, no. And so she asked that when we were at the table, and then at the very end, she goes, I can't believe how much connection just happened in this space, and you guys have only been together for a year and a half. And then I said, well, a lot of people, not even that long, so we've just been doing it that long. And she could not believe. She's like, I've got a group, we've been together for 3 years, and we don't have this level of connection. And it's like,
but I think that's what's the beauty of it, is that what we're doing here isn't like some 6-step process or program of like building relationship with one another and like this whole this is how we build our houses and how we do the thing. And it's like we just keep it so simple that it is mind-blowing how people can come in a first time and feel that level of connection, and we too feel that level of connection with them, even if we've never had an outside conversation. It is mind-blowing to me how it can be. I'm sure you have some brain science behind that.
Well, we do too.
Yes, but
it's the building of the oxytocin too. It's that safety, or armored defenses are coming down, our nervous system is regulating, and the parasympathetic, and there's that comfort that's being built, particularly with appreciation that I know you teach in your collabs.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's bonding hormones, for sure.
Bonding hormones, yes. Yep. And you're right, because I think a lot of times in community spaces, if we don't understand what's at play in our right brains, and we're not tapping into that, and we're trying to build relationship and connection through left brain practices of, well, we're going to study the Bible together and figure out what's right, or any of those things, and we're not understanding how to engage our right brains and relationally connect. Actually relationally connect, not functionally relationally connect.
And we do it at the table too. The part 2 is where we leave the table from a place of relational connection, and we get into the scriptures from that place of open-heartedness, and it's beautiful to hear what the Spirit is saying to the church in that hour. So we're doing it all, but from the foundation of connection.
It's so good.
I think that's a really good point too, and that if you're and I'm one of them, and I know there's been others that have entered into this home on a Sunday for table church and have been like, don't even know if I should be here.
Do you want me to be honest?
How honest do you really want me to be? Because it's going to be ugly today. If I enter, let's say, church that way, and I've done this, I'm not engaging in worship. My heart is closed because I can't even feel myself. All I'm feeling are like the deep feels. My level of authenticity is that even if I'm in church, like God knows, He's not surprised by it. I'm not okay right now, and I'm not going to pretend to be okay and fake my way through. Where I literally, He has witnessed me go through worship and be like, shut down. I won't even stand up. I look miserable because I need some inner attuning. And
Mm-hmm.
and here I feel like we start with that attunement.
Yeah.
I have shown up pretty rigid and not okay a couple mornings, and I've come anyway, and don't know what I'm going to share, don't know what I'm going to say. I just know that I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
And in the process of even listening to other people share,
Mm-hmm.
in appreciation,
Mm-hmm.
everything starts to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to tap into, okay, well, maybe I'll share some. Even if I only share a little bit of
Yeah.
appreciation,
Yep.
something shifts in me.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you're done with the table, it's like a therapy session in a sense, but in the best way.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even have to stay a lot. It's
Yeah.
just the presence.
Mm-hmm.
It's being present, having people be present with you,
Yeah.
that opens my heart to be able to move into the living room
Mhm.
and to be able to worship and to actually be able to hear Jesus. I mean, when we
Yeah.
go into listening to him, I'm not quiet. Most Sundays, I hold back because I'm on like da 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 because I hear that things are open and I'm
Yeah.
really hearing from him
Yeah.
in ways that if I would not have had the table prior to that to
Yeah.
preset
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good.
and to clear everything out because I'm able to,
Mm.
I'm not holding on to anything anymore.
Right.
All that kind of just melts away. Then I open those channels up to really be able to connect with the Spirit and be able
Yeah.
to hear.
That's
So-
That's really good.
And that's the
Yeah.
deep shalom that comes when we practice
Yeah.
these rhythms. So in brain science, there's life beyond the amygdala, I say, and sometimes the elevator on our brains gets stuck in our amygdala,
Mhm.
and when we're kind of out of sorts, out of our window of tolerance, we can come into enemy mode, as Jim Wilder
Mhm.
says. And when everyone's in enemy mode, the people out there are adversaries, but not even out there. When I'm at war with myself,
Yeah.
there's an adversary that I'm not even happy to be with myself. I'm not even
Right.
allowed to be with myself
Yeah.
until that work of building my home, where Father, Son, and myself are glad to be in this inner mansion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to not understand that when he sets a table before me, the presence of my enemies, it has not so much to do with the enemies on the outside until I learn how to deal with those
That's good.
irksome and irritating parts of me. And it comes with this group identity and belonging,
Mhm.
where they can see me and the true essence of who I am when I can't even see myself.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
And I
good.
think we were experiencing
So good.
that reflection of who we really are in the eyes of others. And that's a
Mhm.
gift.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And I think that's so true that the table offers that too, that no matter how you come,
Mm-hmm.
we're so glad to be with you.
Yes.
Mhm.
Even when we're not glad to be with ourselves, we're reminded, like,
Mhm.
I am worthy of being with.
Yeah.
I am worthy of
That's
of
good.
just showing up for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that continues to be a gift. Like you said, when you walk in and you're just hugged, and it doesn't matter if you come in ready to hug someone else or not.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
people are here, and I know we've had days where we're hosting the table and we're not fully ourselves, and
Yeah.
we've had a tough week or whatever. And same thing, where by the end of a table, we're just like, you know, there's just such a beautiful release of a sense of it is going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. Because I think in those
Mhm.
moments too, like you said,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in a church service alone,
Oh, yeah.
so alone and so isolated, and I've walled myself in
Oh yeah.
because it doesn't feel safe, and it outside or inside for that
Mhm.
matter. And I think the table creates this like invitation of you're safe here. Like even if you don't feel safe on the inside, share that with us and we'll hold that safety for you
Yeah.
until
Yes.
you do know that it is safe on the inside.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's
there's
really
so
good.
much beauty there.
I have entered, I went through some really hard seasons in my life and would walk into a Sunday service surrounded by thousands of people,
Mm-hmm.
knowing a lot of them because I was deep in ministry and stuff. So it wasn't like I was just a face in a crowd.
Right,
Everybody
yeah.
knew who I was. And would walk out feeling lonely. You'd get the, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
And you could hide
Oh,
in the face
yeah.
of people.
so easy to hide.
So easy.
Mhm.
Here, you can still hide. You can still say, I'm good. You know, give a little story. Or you can still choose to hide here. But there's so many opportunities. So if I walk in the door and I'm feeling off and I'm just really not connected to myself, don't want to connect to anybody else, and someone comes up to me and is like, oh, hey, Victoria, good morning. How are you? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. You know, I'm good.
Mhm.
Hi, also, I'm good. by the time I get to the table, I've interacted with so many people, but now we're sitting down and we're checking in. And you really face, how am I? And you're given that opportunity where people really are going to listen because they have no choice. They decided to sit down at a table and put themselves in a position where they're going to witness you. So even if I'm like, are you really asking me when I first walk in, are you really asking, are you going to listen about how I'm doing? I might not enter in at that moment, but by the time we get to the table,
it's good.
We're listening.
People
you have a space to fully be heard and seen and witnessed that we don't get when people are constant. How are you? How are you? How are you?
That's so good.
No, it's how are you checking in today? And we're really going to listen because we really care.
And we're not going to respond without your permission. Because I think that's another thing too in the traditional church model. Even if we dared to say like, oh, I'm not doing well, you know, they're like, well, let me pray and fix that for you. You know, because wow, I wasn't expecting you to say something negative and now I don't know what to do with that. I think that's another beautiful thing that we do here is that not only are we going to witness however it is that you show up, but we're going to do nothing more than hold space for that without your permission. If you want more from us, we're going to ask that of you. And we'll tread with you where you want to go. And if you don't want to go there, that's okay too. We're just going to be right here in that field of just being.
And that's beautiful because if someone says, oh, well, don't be anxious about that. You're not supposed to be anxious for anything. You know, God's got it. God's bigger than what. Yes, you know, but that tells me that what I'm feeling in that moment is not okay and it's not good. And then already I'm entering and going, I'm not feeling good about something, but now you're telling me that I shouldn't be feeling good about this. And so I'm holding this emotion or this, whatever this is, and I'm feeling extra bad about it. But I'm not getting any relief from it. I'm only getting more
stuff heaped on me about it.
And now I'm walking away heavier and feeling more lonely than I did when I walked in. And it makes me want to go home and scream into a pillow. And here I always walk out lighter. I've been witnessed. People have been present with me, and presence for me is everything. And to feel someone present with me and attuning, and to be able to walk out lighter because I feel heard. Nothing may have changed. Nothing was fixed. I'm still walking into the same world, the same problem, whatever I walked in with. But all I needed was to know that it matters to someone else and that I was heard and attuned to. Like that just lifts the weight off so that it's bearable for me to go, okay, I can now sit with this and hold space for this on my own until it resolves or not resolves or whatever, but it's okay and it's going to be okay.
Well, again, it's the again, our definition of joy. It's the deep knowing through relational experience that someone is glad to be with me no matter what. That's what you just experienced. You experienced joy in that moment because someone was glad to be with you. You've been listening to the Table and Well podcast. New episodes stream every Tuesday. To begin your journey to relational health, go to tableandwellco.com/community101. Again, that's tableandwellco.com/community101.